Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Manjiri Nadkarni, Ayurvedic MD, registered holistic nutritionist, and I'm back today for another session of the Wellness Wednesdays. Today, we are going to talk about super important topic. We are going to talk about probiotics. Probiotics are super popular. They have been used since ages to provide support with your gut health. If you look at Ayurvedic medicine, we have been using foods like buttermilk or yogurt in various ways, in various formulations to provide support for your gut health. But not all probiotics are created equal. And this is one of the reasons why certain probiotics you may not see any benefit, certain probiotics you may not see any relief with the symptoms. And there are multiple factors that are governing this as well. So, with different probiotics, you may need different probiotics for different conditions. Like certain strains will help digestive issues, certain strains of probiotic will support with uti, certain will prevent systemic allergies or histamine related issues, and that is exactly what we are going to discuss today. So if you are watching this live, say a quick hi. If you are watching this as a replay, you can post your questions later. And the number one thing I want to ask you before we get started is, are you somebody who's currently using any probiotics? So, are you using probiotics on a day to day basis? I can see Jasmine here. I can see Dr. Deepa Nair here as well. And I can see a few people on Facebook. So, are you using any probiotics currently? Please post it in the comments. And what kind of probiotics are you using? I would love to know that as well. So, that is our topic of discussion today, is all about probiotics. What should you really look for when buying a probiotic? So my question is, if you are not using a probiotic, are you using any probiotic foods for support? So Dr. Deepa is saying that she is going for buttermilk. She's having buttermilk on a regular basis. Jasmine is saying, I had a course of antibiotics. So she's considering using a probiotic. Definitely, for somebody that has been through antibiotics, antibiotics are sometimes necessary for sure. They are like those shooters who are going to blindly shoot all the bacteria, whether the good or the bad, and they will end you up being depleted in the good bacteria. And eventually, we also see some clients who will complain about yeast infections as soon as they stopped, as soon as they started the antibiotic, right? So to prevent any of the yeast infections, to prevent any secondary infections, you want to make sure that you are taking a probiotic on a regular basis, especially if you have depleted your gut flora with taking an antibiotic. And definitely antibiotics, sometimes you will require those, but make sure you go through a good course of probiotics. And that is exactly what I'm going to help you choose today. So, what are the five main things that we want to look at when we are buying a probiotic? The number one thing is the quality, right? So, you want to look at the quality of the probiotics. You can get the cheaper versions of probiotics. You can get today, because probiotic word or microbiome is a hot topic. You will see a lot of different food products with addition of probiotics. Some of your cereal may be probiotic enriched, or your gum may be probiotic enriched, or certain foods you're eating may have probiotics. But are they beneficial or not? Are they in enough quantities, and are those reputable brands, is the number one question to say. So the probiotics, you can get it from a health food store. You can also get it from something like a dollar store, which is the cheaper version. But always make sure that you're buying a good quality, a reputable probiotic, because they will rely on good manufacturing practices. And how much ever probiotic content of the capsule they talk about, your probiotic will contain that, right? So that's number one thing you want to do, is get a reputable brand. Just don't choose a cheaper probiotic just because it's cheap. may not really help you. The second thing that you want to look at is the amount of live bacteria in each probiotic capsule. So it's called the CFU, or colony forming units. So colony forming units are nothing but the number of live bacteria in each dose, right? Ideally, you want to go with the higher counts. So you can go for 10 billion, sometimes 50 billion, depending on what your condition is. If you have been through a course of antibiotics, you may need a minimum of 50 billion on a regular basis to support, build, rebuild the bacteria in your gut. So I want you to make sure that you're having a good quantity of the probiotic, because then they are going to inhabit it. Then there is more of the chance of those probiotics staying in your gut. So look for the CFU, colony forming units, go at least 50 billion or more, especially if you are somebody who's been through a round of antibiotics. Third thing to look is for the strain diversity. And another part of the strain diversity is also to make sure they are human strain probiotics, right? So probiotics are found in the soil, they are found in the plants, they're found everywhere, in the humans from the head to toe as well. If you want your probiotics to stay in your gut and multiply and be happy residents in your gut, you want to make sure you're taking a human strain probiotic on a regular basis. That is when there is more of a chance they are going to sit in your gut and multiply, right? Human strain, super, super, super important. And then choose something that has a minimum of 10 to 12 strains. So the more strains you have, each strain can have a different function. Some probiotics will help with gut function. Some probiotics will flourish your vaginal tract. Some probiotics are good for your skin, they will build up your skin barrier. So you want to make sure that you're getting a probiotic that has different strains, and the more strains, the diversity it has, the more actions it will have. What is the minimum time to replenish? I would say a minimum of 2 months. I would say a minimum of 2 months, depending on the antibiotic, how strong it is. At least for 2 months, I would do a probiotic on a regular basis, like a daily basis. And that should help replenish the gut flora. So that's one thing I would definitely decide. Then we've talked about reputable brand, we've talked about CFUs, which is the second part. We talked about the strain diversity, especially finding something that is a human strain. The fourth thing to look for, which not many people talk about, is they should be able to survive the acidic environment of the stomach. Most probiotics, if you expose them to the acidic medium of the stomach, they are not going to survive. And this is true for a lot of the probiotics um, foods that we have, right? So if you are, for example, in India, idlis or dosas are very popular. So you are going to make fermented dosas where you're taking rice and lentil and you're fermenting it. But when you heat it, when you expose it to heat, some of the probiotics are going to get killed there. Through your digestive tract, some may get killed as well. So they may not be viable. So for the probiotics to survive the acidic environment, there are enteric coated capsules. So this probiotic should be delivered into the larger intestine, into the intestine where it is really required, and it's protecting the bacteria from stomach acid. If you are someone who's going for probiotic rich foods, make sure you're having them after your meals. And that is one of the reasons why in Ayurveda, takra or buttermilk is a post meal food, right? Or a post meal beverage. So you're not drinking the buttermilk first, but you're having your meal and then you're drinking buttermilk. So the probiotics in the buttermilk are not going to be affected by your stomach acid, because your stomach acid is already mixed with the food and they can safely pass into your intestine. So that is the goal. So this was the number four thing, is make sure they are survivable as well. And always look at how you're storing, right, as well as the expiry date. So a lot of the times, the bacteria are alive even after the expiry date at times, but always check on the expiry date and make sure you don't store them somewhere near where you're cooking, not in hot environments. They need to be stored in cold environments to be more suitable. So uh, Jasmine is asking me, what about kimchi or kombucha in moderate amount? Kimchi and kombucha, as long as you don't have hives or itching or urticaria or a lot of histamine issues, right? Because these are fermented foods. They're good for the digestive tract as long as you don't have a lot of excess histamine in the system. And the entire next month, I am going to talk about histamine intolerance because it's getting more and more common. I'm getting more and more patients of histamine intolerance. So I'll be discussing all of that in the next session. Kombucha, kimchi in small amounts, good. If you have an histamine issue, I would not go for kombucha or kimchi because they are fermented foods and they are going to impact your histamine. They are going to create high histamine in the system. At the same time, there are certain bacteria or bacterial strains in the probiotics that will worsen histamine issues. An example is Lactobacillus casei or Lactobacillus even reuteri at times. So certain strains of Lactobacillus will increase the fermentation as well, and those may not be suitable to you. So I would always check that. Now, you always want to work with a professional when you are looking at probiotics, especially for your specific conditions. And the reason is that there are certain strains of probiotics that support your digestive tract, um, that we can talk about, like a lot of the lactobacilli. Acidophilus, it's found in yogurt, it's found in fermented foods. So lactobacillus acidophilus is going to really help you with your digestive health. It's going to elevate any symptoms of lactose intolerance as well. It's going to help your vaginal tract to a certain extent as well. Bifidobacterium bifidum, found in the colon, is going to help you with regular bowel movements, help you prevent constipation, is going to help you with overall digestive health. There is a yeast called Saccharomyces boulardii, which is going to help you, with diarrhea. So different probiotic strains are necessary for different conditions. So if you are having any digestive conditions, if you are having any histamine related issues, if you're having recurring UTI, feel free to message me or click on the link in the write up where you can book your 15-minute free consultation, and we can have a good discussion of what strain of probiotic is going to work well for you. So, the gist of what I'm trying to say today is not all probiotics are created equal. Just because you're taking a probiotic may not be enough. Again, 100% you have to do dietary and lifestyle changes. And just taking a probiotic is not the only solution, but buying a good quality probiotic, buying a probiotic that has enough colony forming units of the bacteria you're looking for, enough strains, especially human strains of the bacteria that are going to inhabit your gut, is extremely important when you are taking a probiotic, right? Prebiotics are certain fibers that serve as food to the probiotics. Inulin is a common one. If you are eating fruits and vegetables, you are going to get good amounts of food for the bacteria that you're inviting to your gut, right? They're almost like guests. If you have a guest to visit you, of course you're going to feed them, otherwise they're not going to stay with you for a long time. So you have to give them prebiotics. But a lot of fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, okra, a lot of the soluble fiber as well as insoluble fiber can help the probiotics get their food, make their food, and that's called prebiotics. And then there are certain chemicals, as a part of the probiotics. Eating the prebiotics, they will also release certain healing chemicals in your body, like butyrate, for example, which is also found in ghee. So making sure that you have good quality probiotics, making sure you have good amounts of foods like asparagus, foods like zucchini, foods like artichokes is extremely important. So you're feeding the bacteria. Leafy greens, super important. Whole grains, super important, because this is going to give food to your probiotics, right? So these are few things to be aware of when taking probiotics. If you have been taking a probiotic for over a month and you're absolutely not seeing any difference in the condition that you have been taking the probiotic for, it may not be working for you, right? So that is the time you go back and analyze what could have gone wrong. Is the dosage wrong? Do you require more? Or does the probiotic you have not have enough strains for what is required for you? Or what is going on, so is your gut in a poor shape where the digestion is so weak that even the probiotics are not working well for you? So you have to backtrack a little bit and figure out what could have gone wrong. But check these 5 things if you are buying probiotic supplements. And if you are in doubt, please visit Blue Water Nutrition in Sarnia, or if you are away from Sarnia, visit a health food store, because they can guide you to pick up the perfect probiotic for your health, for your gut support, or for the support with any condition that you are looking for. So, this is my little talk for today. Next month, the entire month, I am going to dedicate towards histamine intolerance. We will be talking about foods to avoid, foods to eat. We'll be talking about the Ayurvedic perspective of histamine, what it means. And we will talk about the signs and symptoms and what are some tests that will tell you that you are histamine intolerant. So stay tuned. That is super important. And I'm going to take a quick comment. So, Jasmine says, yeah, I think if the gut is not right, probiotics may not work. Yeah, so people often think that, oh, I take a probiotic and that should help heal. No, if you have food sensitivities, probiotics are not going to work for you. If you have low digestive enzymes, if you have low stomach acid, the probiotics are not going to work well for you, right? So, you have to fix all parts of the digestive tract. If the secretions are less, you're not breaking the foods down, then just taking a probiotic is not the solution. So that's something, and if you need more information about what I'm talking about, please visit my YouTube channel. Manjiri Nadkarni is the name of the channel. Or you can find a lot of videos on Facebook or Instagram at Manjiri Ayurveda. And I have done, for this entire month, I've done videos on how is your stomach acid, do you have enough enzymes, yes or no? So we've talked about other parts of digestion as well, right? Because for your digestion to work well, all parts of the digestive system have to work extremely well. Just taking a probiotic may not work. But when taking a probiotic, make sure you take the best possible one, the one that is a really good quality, the one that is efficient, that has diverse strains, that contains human strains, and that is the perfect dosage for you. If you have any questions, please make sure you post it in the comments, and I'll be back to answer any questions that you have. Thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you next Wednesday for another Wellness Wednesday. Bye for now.